Welcome to Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners. I'm Dr. Edmund Sulkowski. We're going to welcome the new year here. It's now 2020. This is actually the first show of 2020 for Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners. And I thought it'd be an interesting perspective to invite one of the students, Gabby Tom. Gabby, welcome to Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners.
Thank you.
And we're going to discuss healthcare kind of with a new perspective coming from somebody who's young and may see the world a little differently than I do, for example. Gabby, what year are you in at the high school here?
I'm a junior.
A junior. So you've grown up in the Peters Township area?
Yes.
And you've had a perspective on healthcare. What does healthcare mean to someone who is your age?
In like a very realistic like healthcare kind of thing, like I have no idea what it is, honestly. Like I know like a little bit, but not much, like about like.
So in school, do you have health classes?
Yeah, we have a requirement of personal wellness our freshman year.
And they teach what here on personal wellness?
They teach a little bit about like the human anatomy, about like drugs, alcohol, mental health, and then like CPR and things like that.
So that's for your junior year at school?
That's freshman year.
Freshman year.
Yeah.
And then sophomore year, do they continue on with other classes to reinforce that?
No.
So you get one dose of it and you're done. So you've come sort of in your teenage years with all this talk that we hear on the radio and on the TV about health care and health insurance and Obamacare and so forth. Does that really mean anything to you?
No.
No. So you're not concerned whether you have to go see a doctor and who's going to pay for it. That's the nice part about being young.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, it's all on you and you have to worry about it. So do you concern yourself with things like brushing your teeth or eating properly and so forth?
Yeah. So I brush my teeth 3 times a day, and yeah, I like try to eat as healthy as I can. I think I have like a good balance of like what my body needs versus like what I want to eat,
So this brushing your teeth, where did you come up with the concept of brushing your teeth 3 times a day?
I don't know. It's just like I feel like I'm kind of weird about brushing my teeth. Like I have to brush my teeth every time I leave my house, or else I just like feel weird. So like if I leave my house, I have to brush my teeth. Like in the morning I brush my teeth, and then like if I leave my house after I get home from school, I have to brush my teeth, and then like before I go to bed.
Well, that's a good habit to develop.
Yeah.
Because a lot of diseases start in the mouth first. Yeah. And I know you've been in the studio as part of the classes that produce this show, and you've heard some of our talks on healthcare and on dental care and so forth. So hopefully we're helping you learn a little more than that one class that you get in freshman year. But maybe we need to talk to the school district about having new curriculum and growing, making that a little more of a in-depth requirement in later years, because it changes so much.
Yeah.
So, you floss as well?
Occasionally. Like, I do when I go out to eat, I would say. At home when I eat it, I don't know.
Yeah, and then
I don't as much as I should.
How often do you see your dentist?
Every 6 months.
See, you've got a decent program going. You're probably doing more than a lot of people do. That's a hard routine to get into. I mean, even sometimes I get a little lazy, and being a dentist, I should never be lazy with that, but you can get a little lazy with it.
Yeah.
But it's important. So we talked a little bit about food. So what is your concept on consuming sugars? Do you think sugars are bad for you?
I don't think all sugars are bad. I went on a diet actually, and it was Whole30. So it was like no carbs, no dairy, and no added sugar. So it was like I was eating just like grilled chicken and like salads and stuff, but it was like no added sugar, and like my body felt really good. But also I was eating like fruits and stuff which have like that natural sugar, but I think that's okay.
So you said your body felt better. You mean you had more energy, for example?
Yeah. Definitely.
Did you sleep better?
I would say so. I sleep well no matter what. So, I mean, I think I would get I would feel more energized because I think I was getting better sleep.
What about your moods and with anxiety and so forth? Did you think that cutting out on sugar improved your mood?
I think so, yeah.
Did you have conversations with some of your classmates about this when you were doing this?
Yeah, it was hard because I would go out to eat with my friends and stuff, or go to I was at a birthday party, and obviously there was all kinds of food there, and it was kind of hard to just eat grilled chicken that I had to bring with me, but it was okay. I think, I don't know, I kind of enjoyed it. I haven't done it since, but I enjoyed it while I did it.
Yeah. How long did you last on that program?
It was 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah, I did it for all 30.
That's pretty neat. I've not heard of that program. I've done things like the keto diet.
Yeah.
Where you really watch the sugar content,
Yeah.
the carb content in general, because you could look at a label and it says low sugar, 2-3 grams of sugar, but the total carbs are high because there's natural sugars and a lot of the other components in a product. So you really are counting carbs, not sugars. But I noticed when I did mine, I had clearer thinking, I think.
Yeah.
It was just, my mind was a little bit sharper, because our brain lives off of carbohydrates, but if you give too much, it actually causes some damage.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pressure with you in school here. You have a lot of classes, a lot of homework, a lot of activities. How do you handle all of that?
I am someone that thrives off of pressure and stress, so I have to have that in my life to do better, but I also do get overstressed really easily, because I think I put too much pressure on myself to get all A's and be the best at everything. So I think it is stressful, and it can get to be too much sometimes.
So you develop kind of anxiety with it?
I have, yeah.
And how do you handle that?
I started seeing a therapist my freshman year, and that helped a lot, and then I am on medication now.
So that you talk things out with somebody?
Yeah.
Do you do that with your classmates? You guys all get together and talk about things?
I talk about everything with my best friend. We share everything with each other, so that's definitely helped too. So.
Yeah. Do you notice that a lot of your classmates have this anxiety problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's because everybody's trying to do too much and everybody's on, tweeting and Facebooking and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I hate to be I don't know, I do think social media has had a severe impact on it, just because I think it's how society defines a perfect human, and so you have to be skinny and tall, and you have to get perfect grades, and you have to get into the Ivy Leagues, and I think it's just I think that's where most of it's coming from.
And that's not the real world, is it?
No.
Yeah, that's those worlds we see on TV.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that you're coping with all that? I mean, I don't tweet, and everybody says I need to do that, and I'm real, technical on stuff.
Yeah.
I'm real involved with that, but I just don't want to take all that on. I always say I don't want to follow anybody. I don't want anybody to follow me.
Yeah.
But everybody does that in your age group. So you're glued to your phone?
I am. I try to stay off of it as much as I can, but it's hard because it's your whole life. As a teenager, it is your whole life. I don't know anything else. I've had a phone since I was in 5th grade, so I don't know anything else. I always have to be talking to my friends, or even my parents have even hopped on the bandwagon. So we have a family group message on Snapchat that we're constantly Snapchatting in, and it's my whole life. I am glued to it, but
yeah. And that's pretty much all your friends the same way.
Yeah.
So you're texting each other, you're doing, that's the way you communicate today.
Yeah.
So how are things in school?
They're good. I mean, it does get stressful. I have 2 AP classes, so keeping up with that, and then like.
So tell everybody what an AP class is.
Advanced placement. So it's like a college class that you take in high school, and then you can earn college credits for it. So I'm in AP Chemistry, which is very difficult. And that's probably like my biggest stress of the year is AP Chemistry. And I think I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself because I have 2 older sisters. They both took AP Chem and did really well in it. And my sister is majoring in chemical engineering. So like I feel pressure on myself to like do really well in chemistry because they did. So like I love chemistry though. But I would say like AP Chem is very hard. It's a stress.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, I went
Yeah.
through all that before I went into medical school,
Yeah.
and that is a lot of stress. It's a lot of
Yeah.
math. That's a lot of
Yeah.
writing and work.
Yeah.
You know, so. But that's your goal is to do what then when you graduate from high school?
I am kind of, I don't know. I kind of want to be like a trauma nurse, but I also am very interested in neuroscience.
Ah.
Yeah.
And what brought your attention to neuroscience?
I don't know. Like I just think it's so interesting, like the way that the brain works. Like I think there's so much that we don't know. Like why there's so much that like we don't know why things happen.
That's exactly true. We don't know even how the brain works.
Yeah, so like that's what I want to study, like why things happen and like why we think the way we do. I don't know. It interests me.
You know, Gabby, we're going to take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to switch this, and I'm going to ask you to ask me some questions that might be on your mind. We'll be back here in a minute with Gabby Tom on Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners. Welcome back to Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners. I'm Dr. Edmund Sulkowski, and we have as our guest Gabby Tom talking about what it is to be a teenager today with all the stress and the activities and being in school and the goals that were set. But we're going to do something a little different here. We're going to turn this show over to Gabby, and Gabby's going to kind of interview me for a change.
Yeah. Okay, so how has healthcare changed since you were my age?
Well, I think healthcare has changed in one big regard. The focus has become on health insurance, and they call it health care, but it's not really health care. So when I was growing up, you know, we went to the doctor if we got sick. We saw our physician, we saw our dentist, only when we needed to. And I think as I was growing up, it started to change into more of a preventative type thing. Mm-hmm. So especially with dentistry, and coming from a family of dentists, it was very preventative oriented. So I remember my parents chasing me around the house trying to brush my teeth because I didn't like it. But I think that at least in my own perspective is, after I became older, I started to really learn what health care was, and it was taking care of ourselves. And I actually got that from my mother, who started to take supplements, and she was always a good cook, and we ate well. But she started to introduce vitamins and minerals, and even something I remember called castor oil or something like that. It was a castor oil or some kind of oil that tasted terrible, and she would make us take it. But she started to learn way back when, because that's a long time ago, that we need to feed our bodies nutrition. And I think that's happening now again. I think people are starting to realize that we need to support our bodies in order for us to be well. And it isn't wait for us to get sick and then try to see some professional to fix it. We need to prevent it. So that's how I think the major change is.
Do you still take like the vitamins and supplements?
I do, absolutely. I'm in fact a big promoter of it. At one time I was taking probably 80 different supplements a day.
Oh, wow.
So and it gets difficult to do that sometimes. I go through periods, Gabby, where I kind of slack off, and and cut back a little bit with not eating properly. You know, I'm just coming out of one of those periods now for the last six months. I kind of did it on purpose because I was losing too much weight, and I need to eat carbs to gain weight.
Yeah.
But then it develops to become a habit, you know. So I've just kind of broken that. But I think that's what I see in general now is people, like for example with this show, Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners, and my radio show, Healthy Pets, Healthy People. We have people that are interested in how they support their body in order to prevent from becoming sick. Instead of they want to be proactive instead of reactive. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you see that with your family or your friends.
Yeah, I only take one supplement. I take manganese for my hips, but that's it. I mean, I go to like the doctor and dentist like every 6 months or whatever, but I don't really take supplements. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never really seen like a huge change, but I've never taken them for long enough for there to be a change, I don't think.
Well, I think nowadays, another big change, I think people are more aware on how our food's made and the chemicals that are in our food and so forth. And back when we just ate things, you know, we never thought about what was inside them, read the labels or, you know, what the calorie count was or what the fat count was or the fiber count, you know. I think people are more aware.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest change.
So do you think there's a difference between like the health in the U.S. and other countries?
Absolutely. You know, as a medical provider, I've seen people from all over the world, and the worst conditions I've seen are people that come from the socialistic countries that have free medical care. England, for example, Canada, where the government's paying, but the quality of the work and even the availability to get in to see someone and have the work done is really missing. It takes months and months to get in, and they just do the minimum work. So I know when I was in school, we had about 15 classmates that were from Canada, and there was big talk at the time about this, you know, health care for everybody, what they call health care. Really, it's health insurance. They would say, I don't know what everybody here is complaining about, because we come to the United States to get our care done. Because it may be free in another country, but it's not done properly. And so the worst conditions I've seen in the mouth are from all of these countries that have this socialized medicine.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So what would you say like are issues that are talked about today that weren't talked about when you were younger, like health issues?
Well, I think cancer is a big one these days. When I was young, Gabby, you never heard of anybody having cancer, and if there was somebody that had cancer, they would actually say cancer like this, cancer. They would actually whisper the word, because it was a death sentence, first of all, and then you didn't really know a lot of people. And now I think cancer is just about 1 out of every 2 to 3 people are going to have some form of cancer in their life. That's scary. And no one's coming up with the reasons why.
Yeah.
You know. And then I think when vaccinations, which I'm not a proponent of vaccinations, there were very few when I was little. And now babies that have no immune system are getting inundated with 18 different types of vaccinations in one shot. And they have no immune system to support it. So I think there are people that are aware that all of this push for all of this stuff might not be so good for us. So
have you ever traveled like out of the country?
I did go to England once, and Canada and Mexico. I've been to these places, yes.
Did you get any vaccinations before you went?
I don't think we were required to get any of those at the time. You know, I am vaccinated for whatever the few that I had when when I was young. But I certainly don't do flu vaccinations or pneumonia vaccinations or so forth. You know, I was forced in medical school to have a hepatitis vaccination, which was a series of 3 shots. I actually had to have 4 because I never made the antibodies for them. But I would get immensely sick after every vaccination, after every shot.
Yeah.
You know, so I think what people need to do is actually look into why they're being vaccinated and what's in that vaccination.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you think that high school or college sees more stress?
You know, that's funny. I always had the best times in school. You know, I enjoyed grade school. I enjoyed high school. I couldn't wait for it to be done, but I always had the best time. I was so excited to get out of high school and to go into college, and then I thought when I was in college, high school wasn't so bad. You know, and then, you know, I did what I did in college, and then when I went into medical school, I thought, you know, college wasn't so bad. You know, the funny thing is, then you get out into the real world and you start to work and, you know, and do what you've been trained to do, and then you think medical school wasn't so bad. Yeah. So it's all relative at that point in time, I think. You know, I think it's what you make of it, though.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of being in the moment and not worrying so much. I think that's where anxiety comes in, when you're worrying about the next step.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Did you would you say you missed high school a lot when you were in college?
No, I didn't miss it. No, I just thought how easy high school was compared to college, you know, and then how easy college was compared to medical school.
Yeah, I can only imagine that.
You know, and then how easy school was compared to having to go out every day and work. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give, for someone entering high school or college or the real world, with how to cope with the stress of all of it?
Well, I think you need to have a good family support. I think good friends. I mean, solid people in your life, you know. And I think you need to have some type of a way to release tension. For me, it was playing the piano, painting, whitewater rafting, mountain biking, driving. I always loved to, you know, drive a car. Mm-hmm. So those things were good releases. So I think you focus on what you need to do, but then you have these ways of releasing that stress, because you can't be in stress all the time.
Yeah.
It beats you up.
Yeah.
You know? So you know, good hobbies, create something nice, you know. And I wasn't the best painter out there, but I would paint, you know, and it was good for me, you know, sitting down in a piano and playing the piano, making music. You know, it was a way of taking yourself out of the stressful world and placing yourself in a suspended moment in time, mm-hmm. you know, where you were just focusing on what you were doing there.
So do you think that not living in the moment is a bigger issue now than it was when you were growing up?
Yeah, I think, I gotta tell you what, it is so, today I think we're being bombarded by too much information, too many distractions. You know, you drive down the road and everybody's got their phone and they're looking down, and you're driving, you know, a lethal weapon at 60 miles an hour. You know, the news just gives you bad news all the time. I don't listen to the news because it's just bad all the time. You know, all this technology is wonderful, but it's frustrating at the same time when it doesn't work right. You know what I mean? So I think living in the moment is, you know, you have to have your goals, but they change over time. You know, you think you're going to do one thing, and then the next thing you're doing something else. So something attracts you, and you change your direction. You know, but yeah, I actually think living in the moment, living for the now, because you know, if you worry about the past, you're depressed. If you're worrying about the future, you're anxious. So just kind of be where you are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Hey, Gabby, we're at the end of the show. That was a quick show. You know, I thank you so much for doing this and giving a little different perspective. So thank Gabby Tom for coming on to Healthy Pets, Healthy Owners. Remember, a healthy pet is a happy pet. When you're healthy, you're happy as well. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.